I think that if we're going to compare Off Campus to any other TV show, it would be Bridgerton. I think they are on the exact same level of type of show. They are both based on multi-book series that follow interconnected characters that go through each of their own love connections with different people, and each book focuses on a new couple. Both series of books are written at a similar quality, which means that they aren't really that well written at all, and the men are equally as heinous as each other in each series. Both series were adapted to episodic TV of about 8 episodes, with each season focusing on a new couple, while also expanding on the current interconnected relationships in the books, and also introducing new characters to further expand the world they have already established. Both shows are significantly better than the books because of this expansion, because of this development, because they add more depth to the characters. I even think that they change a similar amount of their stories for the show, where they keep the heart of the stories correct and the couples the same, but they actually kind of change things to make it elevated and better. I would even say that they are the same quality when looking at just how good the shows are. The main difference is that Off Campus feels slightly more grounded in reality than Bridgerton, because Bridgerton takes place in a historical, fantastical world. Despite this, though, and perhaps even because of this, Bridgerton is able to do something that Off Campus currently lacks, which is adding more diversity to the show. To be clear, I am not saying that Off Campus is more realistic because there's a lack of diversity. I'm saying that despite it being more grounded in reality, there is a glaring lack of diversity that Bridgerton has able to bring to the narrative. Bridgerton used their narrative element and their narrative template to propel diversity to the forefront, to bring about more representation for more communities that aren't usually represented. To be clear, even in Bridgerton's era that they have set the show in, these communities did exist. They were very there. There were queer people, there were black people, there were Asian people, there were all these different types of communities, but the way that Bridgerton is portraying them as is within the aristocracy, as having a level of status that they might not have had at the time. Because the show is set around the aristocracy and status symbols, they bent the rules of their narrative world using Queen Charlotte, using the sort of characters that would be there in order to facilitate this. Bridgerton had a harder time of this, and yet they still managed to do it. So Off Campus not having these elements does feel a bit weird. It is very much primarily a show about white people and the various shenanigans they get up to. There was only one black female character, and she barely had a conversation with Ali in the bathroom. I don't even think she had a name, so we can't really count her as actually a character. I do find it interesting because the show clearly isn't afraid of adding diversity rep. You look at a character like Jules, they added to the narrative to showcase a non-binary person, which is great, cool, we get more representation. But then there is still a glaring lack of actual racial representation. I do think that this is something that Off Campus can definitely get better at. We are 4 seasons into Bridgerton and we're now getting disabled representation, ASL representation. We're seeing queer characters at the forefront leading the story. That's great. Off Campus is in season 1, but again, for a show that kind of like had all this groundwork kind of built for them with a show like Bridgerton showing how successful it can be with this level of representation, it's odd that they kind of didn't take that opportunity. But at the same time, it's not really that odd. I just kind of hope they do better in the next seasons. Because I think what Bridgerton has done best, most of all, is that showing that adding diversity doesn't ruin the heart of the story you're trying to tell. The books, the core love story within the books that everyone adored is still there. It's still present. You can have that without sacrificing something else. Add more representation. It won't hurt your show at all. It'll bring new communities in, new audiences, and people genuinely will still enjoy the show for what it is. But other than that, I think the two shows are kind of on par with each other.